stinks. Hear a sound. I don't like it. Hopefully that sound's not coming through anywhere, but that's fine. If it is, we'll figure it out, Jeremy.
What sound?
The man working on the chain gang, I guess. All right. Wonderful. All right, we're live. All right. Jeremy, let's go. You ready? Let's do this.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Hey, welcome everybody. Another episode of Earzup InDepth for you. And with me, as always, Jeremy from Spectral Radio and Earzup InDepth.
That's right. And Earzup Podcast.
That's right, and Earzup Podcast.
Yeah, and the Supreme Resort.
And the Supreme Resort and the Quarantiki Room happy hour in my where I am right now because I haven't torn down the temporary studios here.
So what happens for the show on Thursday?
I don't know. I think
you're still going to be in the Tiki Room. That's my personal opinion.
Well, I think it probably should. I don't know why, but I think I don't know. I don't know how many more times are we going to do Quarantiki Rooms? I can't because I sort of miss being in my studio.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, just because everything is confined in there. I can close the door and not have to worry about, the rest of the household or if Alice is going to come through and screw with stuff or anything like that. So I just I don't know, man. It's also very messy. I'm looking around here. There's cords everywhere and it bothers me on some weird level.
I think it's a visually more interesting environment.
I agree. Well, what I want to do, one of the things I was planning on doing, I think last month sometime before this whole quarantine thing hit, was going and painting the studio a different color because basically the studio wall's like some sand color and everyone sort of gets blown out behind it or in front of it. So I want to paint it like a light gray and get some more stuff on the walls and kind of do a better job with that. I agree with you. It is much more interesting in here. But
I think you should paint it purple.
Purple. You think purple?
Like a purple blue gradient, kind of like the background of your website.
Okay.
I'm all about consistent branding.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then
what happens? That's what I think should happen.
What happens if we change our website?
You won't be able to.
No,
you'll be locked in.
I'll be locked in, and that's it's not something I'm prepared to do, to be honest with you. But hey, it's a good idea. I'll take it under advisement.
I think. Well, here's my advice for Thursday.
All right, please advise me.
It's one show. I think you're not going to have Taryn and Bev over because we're all still under lockdown. Stay in the Tiki Room, and then that gives us the leverage, the flexibility, the agility, if you will.
I will.
To do another Quarantiki Room because, quite frankly, I don't want to sound like we're great or anything, but I have had a couple messages that say, I hope you guys keep doing these.
Really? Okay. Actually, that reminds me, speaking of the last Quarantiki Room, actually, let me check on that right now because as of basically 4 minutes after we stopped the other night, that video was blocked. Not just, copyright flagged, but literally blocked in all countries because of 2 of the 4 songs I played.
I'm surprised that happened because I thought maybe my playing of the... because it's like an algorithm, right? Like they can hear the music, but I thought if I played the recorder enough over it, it would mess with their systems. Apparently, they can go right through my recorder playing.
Yeah. Oh, it's up now. It's up again. Okay, because I filed I basically contested the flagging and said that we're doing it under fair use because it's educational. And that's really what I qualify any of it because I was playing it so you could hear the songs. So then you could play the things. It wasn't just I was playing music or whatever.
Right. So it was educational, but only for my benefit.
That's true. So it
educating me to play the recorder.
Yeah. So it is back up. And what I said before is I'm going to put these Quarantiki Room episodes. I'm just going to make them unlisted and then put the links on Patreon behind the paywall. So it's like a little free look into sort of a secret show, but I don't know. We have a little more fun, I think. I agree with you. I do like them. I just don't want to do them as often, I think, also. Like two a
maybe
week
we
is
go
hard.
once a week.
Yeah, like Taryn said, she goes, nobody needs 2 hangovers a week except maybe for Jeremy.
Oh my God! If it were only 2, I would be so lucky. It's like cleaning my apartment's like cleaning up a frat house every morning, and I'm the only one in here. I don't know what's going on.
How are you going to survive?
Well, I've stopped. The last 2 nights, I haven't had anything.
Yeah,
I needed to pull back.
You haven't had anything the last two. Okay.
Well,
last
like I
night
haven't had anything last night, and tonight I only had 1 glass of scotch with dinner, and now I'm just having a cup of tea.
Okay, so you've sort of backed away from drinking as much. Because you said for the past 2 nights, and Sunday we had our Quarantiki room, and today's only Tuesday, so you're lying
Monday.
somewhere.
No, Monday and tonight.
Yeah, which you've already had
over.
scotch.
The night's not over, but there's not going to be any drink.
No, except the scotch you had at dinner.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, okay.
With dinner, that's more of a nice, just a
A digestif? Yeah. Well, you had a long, harrowing day at work, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Working from home it's really getting to me. It actually is not easy working from home. I'm easily distracted.
Yeah. Because when you're at home, you suddenly think about all of the chores that you should be doing at home that you don't have time to do. Like, I really got to clean the bathroom. Like, my bathtub is gross. Or, I should probably just do laundry. Let me just get up. I'll do a quick little laundry. And then you do the laundry and you see something else you got to do. It's a procrastinator's paradise working at home.
Right. Well, normally, like if all things being normal and I work from home, I'm really good at it. I can get what I need to do done.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling because of the way the world is right now, there just isn't a sense of urgency attached to things as much. It's kind of a little bit more like loosey-goosey. And so I'm kind of like being a little loosey-goosey.
Yeah. You don't care. No one else cares. Why should you care?
Right. I mean, I care, but not.
Well, yeah.
I'm not a fanatic.
Right. Exactly. Well, we have a few good stories for you today. I have a long one and 2 short ones, I feel like.
Okay.
And they're not really, the other ones really aren't stories. There's so much as they're just news articles because, again, the parks are closed. So I guess let's address that. The parks are closed, I think, indefinitely, right? And you can't even book hotels in the area until like June.
Right. I think June 1st is the day that you can start booking.
Yeah. So there's really not a whole lot of news going on right now about the parks or anything like that.
These news stories are really just more like facts and observations.
Yeah. I know. Disney's really killing us with this. They're killing our show with this quarantine and civic responsibility. I hate it. Yeah. Do you want to go ahead and go first with your...
Well, you've got 3 and I've got 2, so I think you should lead off.
Should I lead off with the big one or one of the smaller guys?
I think you should lead off with the big one.
Really? Okay.
Whatever you think. You know them.
I do know them. All right. I'll do my lead story today. As someone who sells T-shirts in the Disney sphere of goods, and as someone who has been hit with a copyright infringement notice in the past, I'm amazed, Jer, at the amount of people out there who blatantly and ferociously just steal Disney's intellectual property and sell it online. Shirts, hats, shoes, backpacks, which I don't know if anybody's selling a backpack, but I just threw it in there because I feel like they should. Party invitations, you name it, it's being sold by someone on the internet branded with Disney intellectual property. What I did was take a castle, not necessarily the castle, but a castle, turned it into a churro castle and dumbed it down a lot. So that made it my own artwork, and it's protected under copyright law as a parody. I didn't directly steal anything from Disney, so that's how I could do it because I was smart about it. What some of these people online are doing is just straight up theft, literally taking Mickey Mouse and putting it on a T-shirt or an invitation or Donald Duck or whatever.
Right.
And you've seen it. It's all over Etsy. Just Google Etsy, search Disney. Go on Teespring and search Disney. They're everywhere. TeePublic. It's all over the place. People are making a nice chunk of change off of Disney. Disney has usually been pretty aggressive in pursuing the larger of these offenders, issuing very wide DMCA notices, which stands for Digital Millennium Copyright Act, meaning you have to pull your artwork down without having to file a lawsuit first, which is also the first step in protecting your artwork. So, like, we see people all the time stealing our churro design. We actually have a copyright on that design, so we issue a DMCA notice to them and their internet provider. And the internet provider basically said that email says, you are hosting an image that is protected under copyright law. You need to remove it immediately. And they do, and they take it down.
Right.
And that's just kind of it. It could progress into a lawsuit if they don't take it down, and if but in order to protect your copyright and your trademark and your patent and all that stuff, you have to be aggressive, and you have to issue these notices as proof, or else people can file as you've like abandoned your copyright, and then they can just take it from you, which is stupid.
That leads me to my question for you is, have you been, because I remember you were banging on about this for quite a while.
That's what I do.
Just more and more. And then, but I haven't heard you talk about it lately. Are you still finding the churro shirt out there and still contacting people? Like, what's the update from your end?
Well, I turned that all over to Terrence, and I think he hasn't done it in a while, which is a little annoying. I don't know. You want to Google it? Let's Google right now. Let's Google churro shirt and see what happens.
Oh, wow. This is fun watching Jason Google.
Well, I like to Google. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Google churro shirt images. No, there's nothing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he's really keeping an eye on the internet.
Yeah, I hope so. Or we've just already shut down all the ones from like China and Taiwan, because all they do, there's a lot of fly-by-night sites where they take crawlers and they go to the popular sites and they just scavenge all these images, repost them on their site in hopes that people, someone might buy one or two. You know what I mean?
Right.
Wow. There's literally a T-shirt that just says "Suck my churro." Can you imagine wearing that to the park and just being like, "Yeah, I like churros. That's me. I identify with churros, but
That's
only in
awful.
reference to a phallus."
Awful.
Yeah, pretty good. No churro castles. I love it.
Suck my churro is like such a hack way of doing it.
I know.
You know?
That's almost
that's like knocking off the got milk thing.
I was
Like,
going to say, it's like saying,
got churros.
"Got churros."
Yeah, it's so stupid.
Yeah, it's not too good, man. But oh geez, here's a shirt that says "I'm not here for churros," and it has Pinocchio, like literally Pinocchio, with like a long nose, like he's lying.
Right.
And it's like I
That's great.
can't tell if it's actually Disney or not. But that's the kind of thing that people steal and sell online. So anyway, there is that. But usually after I send a DMCA notice, that's it. I'm done. I don't have to file a lawsuit. The artwork is pulled down and life goes on. The person infringing on your art can sue you back, saying, "No, that is my artwork. How dare you?" But that's obviously not really going to happen, because if they're stealing your artwork, they're going to be like, "Okay, I got caught. I'm going to move on with my life."
Right.
And Disney sort of targets large sites like TeePublic or Etsy, and they'll cite thousands of potential links within that site that could possibly create confusion. That's what happened with me on TeePublic several years ago. Is they just sent a net of like the lawyer for TeePublic's like, "Look, we got hit with like 1,000 links." Disney just came through and went, even if it is infringing or not, or could be potentially, it's up to Disney to protect their trademark. So they cast a wide net, just to pull everything down and see what happens. They're never going to come after me personally, because that's more direct, and I mean, quite frankly, they wouldn't win, but that's just me. TeePublic has no choice but to back down and remove the offending artwork. I guess it's better to be safe than sued. Well, Jeremy, this won't surprise you, but there are some really dumb people that do this sort of thing, and there are none dumber peoples than a company called Mouseprint Media, which sells under the URL DisGear, DisGear. And even the URL sort of doesn't offend me, but when I was naming the show, if you listen for a long time, you'll heard the story before. I tried really hard to not have any sort of like Disney thing or Mickey's chat team or something like that. I thought the
Mouse
ears,
chat.
yeah, I thought the ears were, was a close enough tie-in because when you're searching for a podcast, I wanted to make it obvious that we were a Disney podcast, but I didn't want to be so blatantly where it's, Tinkerbell's, Chain Gang podcast or something like that. I wanted to be separate from that. So the whatever. The owner, whose name is Eric, pulled a ton of Disney IP and turned it all into T-shirts. There's images of like Goofy's hat and ears. That silhouette.
Okay. So they own that? Disney owns the silhouette of a hat with ears.
It's you don't have to own the trademark or the copyright on that. I think that they would actually, but it's all under creating confusion for the mark. And that's
creating confusion. Okay.
Right. So if you if I had a Disney internet radio show and I called it like, Examine Radio, but I spelled it and it did the image just like your logo, you could sue me, even though it's not the same. It's not the same name, but it could invoke the same imagery, or somebody seeing them both could be like, oh, well, they must be related. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. So then I can support, whatever I just said. Spectrum Radio.
Well, someone did that to me.
Oh, that's right. What happened with that?
Radio Spectro Chile.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They took radio, in my logo, they took the radio word and put it above Spectro, and then below it, they just wrote in Chile in a weird font. It looked terrible.
Yeah, of course. What happened?
Yeah.
Did you contact them?
I contacted them.
Yeah.
Eventually, they took it down.
Of course.
But it was a lot of it back and forth, and they were like, well, how do you know that we didn't make it? How do we know that you're not lying? And I'm like, because I made, like, you do know that I'm not lying because you're the one who stole it.
Right.
Right, like you do know.
Yeah, exactly. And you get people like that too. Like I sent someone a DMCA notice on Etsy, and they're like, "Oh, well, I didn't know this was a Jason Petros original piece of artwork. Someone just sent it to me to see if I could reproduce it." And I said, "But sir, the reproduction, the word reproduction means that it's not original to you, nor is it original to the person asking you to do it. So why would you do it and then sell it, which is illegal?" But then put it up on your site to see if other people wanted it. It's not your artwork, and I never heard back from him.
Right, like who is it okay to steal from? It's okay to steal from someone as long as you don't know who it was.
Exactly, but that's the internet, right? We had a website in Russia, of all places, who was mirroring our site exactly. It was an exact copy of our website, but like with just a different URL.
Why would they want to do that?
I have no idea. I think I would imagine if you found that website through search terms and maybe wanted to download an episode, then they could probably attach some sort of malware to it or something like that. That's the only way that I could see that happening. But people are unscrupulous, if you know what I'm trying to say, Jeremy.
Yeah, I know what that means.
Okay, good. Let's see. Where did I leave off? Oh, yeah. So Goofy's hat and ears. Star Wars characters. He had a Darth Vader T-shirt, for example. I was trying to find photos, and I couldn't necessarily find specific photos, except just what was in this article that I read. And it's like, goofed up is the Goofy hat, and it's like the Goofy hat with the ears. So that's what I was saying. Yeah, so they might not own the silhouette, but they do sell the Goofy hat with ears, so you could definitely be convinced that, oh, that's a shirt that I found. And it's also not very cool looking, so it's definitely something that you would find in downtown Disney. Because I think a lot of the Disney shirts aren't very cool, which is why I don't own a whole lot of them. And they're also $35 for a T-shirt, which that costs $4.
You're like, oh, I can't wait for this to shrink after one wash. And
yeah, it's so good, dude. I love it so much. Tinkerbell and the Castle, so just the lettering is not copywritten, but it's the name, and then it's the name with the lettering to intentionally create confusion in the marketplace. So it's those three things kind of put together.
Right.
Right.
I mean, you can't put Disney in the Disney font on a like. I mean,
Right.
it's
That's
like,
what I'm saying. Right? So
also,
we could write Ears Up podcast in the Disney font. That's fine. Because the Disney font, you can't copyright font.
okay.
But we
The
can't
font's
put
ugly anyway.
it is kind of ugly. But you can't put, like you said, Disney in the Disney lettering, then put it on a shirt to sell.
Right. Well, that shirt also, I feel like that's a saying that you see on shirts in Disney, like my favorite.
Possibly.
You see that for sale in Disney stores, and it's a terrible saying. It's so stupid. So this guy is not only ripping off the artwork, but he's ripping off the dumb sayings. Like, come up with something original. Like, you're ripping off the dumbest one, you loser.
Well, I do know that. Well, I have a hunch, and I've heard, and I think I've seen, but I can't remember because I'm too old. I think Disney looks for stuff like this on Etsy, and then we'll just make shirts. Because I feel like it's only recently have I seen I'm here for the churros shirts at Downtown Disney, but that's been a thing on Etsy for years. So I think there's as much as there is fans stealing from Disney. I think it's also the other way around too. Like, well, they can't copyright this, so we're just going to do this. So it's totally fine. Now, and usually you can sort of fly under the radar with a lot of this. I know. I think last year, the year before, I did some news article about Disney announcing they were kind of relaxing on the hobbyists, like on Etsy and that kind of stuff. They weren't really going to be pursuing as much as possible. But this dude actually filed for trademarks and copyright to protect these designs. And I think that's how Disney became aware of him. Like you can do kind of a lot of stuff with these big corporations, but once you start trying to protect the things that you're stealing,
right?
Yeah, the hammer of Thor can't protect you from from the team of lawyers at Disney.
Bear. That's the thing. Don't poke the bear.
Oh no, never do that.
And now the bear needs money now too. So they're going to be that much more protective of this kind of thing.
Yeah. In March and October of 2019, Disney sent him 2 cease and desist letters, but nothing helped, nothing fixed. He was still selling. So they had no other choice but to take his ass to court. Well,
this is another thing. This guy is ballsy. Like, if Disney ever sent me a cease and desist letter,
oh my God,
you would find me in the woods of Canada hiding out. Like, I would be so scared.
I would move to Morocco and sell tchotchkes on the street in a blanket. Like, I would never. You wouldn't.
I'd be weaving rugs.
Exactly.
In the Moroccan desert. Like, I wouldn't be like, psh, come get me.
I know.
They came and got him.
Yeah, they came. Well, he's been selling since 2000.
To stop with the cease and desist. That's all they want to do. They don't want to have to take you to court. They don't want to spend the money on the lawyers. They want to send the cease and desist, scare the pants off of you, and move on with life.
Exactly. And I think the reason why they sent that is, or why they sued him is, this guy's clearly making a lot of money. I mean, because if he's doing 0 sales, what do they care, right? But he's clearly doing a lot. This is what I think, right? Is I wonder if people in the parks actually were like seeing these shirts, or I wonder if it was more than just, oh, this guy's selling, let's shut him down. I wonder if it was deeper than that. But I don't know. I thought that was very, very ballsy, very, very aggressive of this guy to be like, no, goofed up. I can do this. Let's go. Come and sue me. And they did. It was only filed like December 9th or something like that of 2019, and it's already settled.
Wow.
The order from the judge came down, and then in Disney's favor, of course, and within 20 days of the judge's order being signed, the online store, Mouthprint Media, agreed to give all of its unsold merchandise to be destroyed by Disney, as well as give Disney control of its websites. As of Tuesday, which I think is today, it may have been last week, but who cares, the websites appeared to have already been shut down. So that's another thing in copyright, law. So there was this gal on Instagram, I think last year before, selling Churro Castle pins. It wasn't like my design, but my trademark covers the word Churro Castle. Okay. Or a castle made of churros or whatever. So legally, I have to send her a DMCA and say, hey, you can't reproduce these. You can't do this. I own it. And so we went back and forth. She's like I think a teenager, maybe would have legally been allowed to do that. That's just kind of how this whole thing sort of works. Either you can destroy it or Anyway, you know what I mean? Because if it's your product, if it's your IP, you technically own it.
Right. You should have taken. You should have confiscated it and used it as a giveaway for somebody.
I felt bad because she's like, "Look, I don't even do this for fun." And I looked at her Instagram page, and she doesn't. And the pins were it was kind of bad anyway, so it's fine.
All right.
But
Yeah.
whatever. Anyways, that's happened, and whatever. So also, Mouseprint Media also agreed to abandon its applications with the United States Patent Office and Trademark Office for its logo that had a picture of Mickey Mouse ears and a design that said "Home" in front of a picture of the Magic Kingdom castle.
Yeah, you can't make that one.
You can't do Mickey Mouse ears. You can't do the castle. You can't. These are things that he was doing that you cannot do. And he just.
Right.
I wonder how much money he made off of this. Because, like I said, he was doing a ton of stuff. And since 2014, enough to
He
copyright.
lost money. I mean, he had how much merch do you think he had in inventory? I don't know if how quickly was he turning it around? Was he making it to order?
I don't know.
I didn't have a ton.
Yeah, who knows? He sold shirts with images of Darth Vader, Cinderella's castle. I'm trying to look through this thing to see if I missed anything. Adding to the likelihood of confusion, defendants have reproduced photographs of various Walt Disney World Resort rides and attractions in their marketing materials. The last 5 digits of this guy's phone number spelled Pluto. Pluto.
Jeez.
Yeah. This guy didn't care at all, dude. Yeah. So I don't think that Disney sued him for like damages. I think they just wanted him to stop.
So you couldn't make like a Space Mountain silhouette T-shirt.
Well, I don't know. No, I know you can't. Well, Space Mountain T-shirt, they could probably issue a DMCA parody. Then you can sort of maybe barter. But I really don't think they would go after small fish like us. I really don't. I mean, again, search the word Disney on Etsy. There's tons of people out there, making cricket cut, invitations and stuff and selling those.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff out there.
So they won.
So they won. They protected all of their trademarks. And this dumbass, Eric, whatever his name is, Mouseprint Media. Even Mouseprint and Diz Gear. Come on.
Well, Diz Gear, the store in Epcot is called Mouse Gear. So, like, that's even that.
I'm looking at like the docket for the original thing, and it's like this guy's being sued by Disney Enterprises, Lucasfilm LLC, Lucasfilm Ltd. I'm just basically everybody, and they have a bunch of exhibits, and that was very fast too, because it only, like I said, it was only filed in December 9th, and I think it was ruled on January 6th even, or something like, maybe even sooner than that.
The hand of justice is swift.
Yeah. Oh, here's the website. My Favorite Diz Gear and DizGearDesigns.com were 2 other websites that he operated. Dumbass. Like, super dumbass.
Yeah, it's not very intelligent.
Eric Wickhart. No, it's not. It's not very intelligent either. But also, he's been getting away from it, or away with it for 6 years.
That's true.
So,
he should have called. I mean, there's so many things you could tell. You could call it Magic Street Apparel.
Right.
Yeah. There's so many things that evoke that are like brand elements of Disney that they can't own. I mean, Spectro, their parade was called Spectro Magic, but they can't own the word Spectro. It's from spectrometer, spectrum. Like they can't. So
correct.
I feel comfortable with that.
Exactly, and that's what you do, and the creative of us, the more creative people of us, will do stuff like that, because it's okay to invoke, and that's, I think, what the core of that story I was reading last year about Disney's really not going after these hobbyists so much, because we're sort of promoting these, I don't want to say hidden, or maybe they're like forgotten, things, and we're sort of generally elevating the vibe of Disney and not really doing too much damage. But if you put Darth Vader on a T-shirt, you're going to get sued. Right. That's just what's going to happen, man. So I've always liked those T-shirts where you can take small elements and then turn them into like a logo involving that element or that name or whatever. Like like Spectro. Or maybe actually more to the point, like Tashi Station from Star Wars. I know you know what that means, but you made Tashi Station, which is a place to go buy stuff on Mos Eisley. You make that into a logo, a Tashi Station logo, and it's the word Tashi. I think that's cute, and that's at least clever. You're actually doing artwork. Although then it's like, well, you're sort of stealing that word that somebody else came up with, and so I have a problem with that. It's like people who steal the Rolly Crump designs of the tikis in front of the tiki room, and then they paint them and then they sell them on Etsy for $200, and you're like, but you didn't make this. You painted it. It's not a parody. You're just doing a different version of this someone else's design.
Right.
I have a problem with that, but I don't know. Maybe I don't. Maybe I just relax. Anyway. I don't. It's your turn. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
All right. You know what? You know what? I bet you don't want to talk about anymore, Jace. Coronavirus.
Oh man, I'm so not tired of talking about coronavirus.
Okay. Well, good.
Yeah,
because it continues to dominate the news.
Perpetually coronavirus talk.
And companies across the globe suddenly see their revenue falling to historically low levels, and in some cases, their revenue is falling to zero.
Wow.
If you're a retailer like Macy's or a lot of these companies, they have no income right now. Their stores are closed.
That's crazy.
So with little to no income coming in, companies have been left scrambling to reduce expenses in order to keep employees paid. Yesterday, it was announced that the CEO of Disney, Bob Chapek, would take a 50% pay cut while his company weathers the crisis.
He's still getting paid over $1 million a year.
He is, because his
2.3, I think, is what it was.
No, his salary is $2.5 million.
2.5.
So,
okay, so he's still making over $1 million, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me no.
Hold on, let me get my calculator out. I can't divide two.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, company chairman Bob Iger will forego his salary entirely. This announcement was made this was announced only a day after the company extended its theme park closures indefinitely, as we said before, until global conditions improve enough to warrant reopening the parks safely.
I wonder. Part of me thinks that the two Bobs got together, and then Bob Iger was like, "Look, you should probably forfeit, I don't know, half of your salary just to make it look good and help the company." And Chapek say, "Oh yeah, that's true. It'll make me look good." And then Bob Iger decides to forego 100% of his salary so he looks better. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know if that's how it went down.
No, probably not. Thanks though. Look, I'm getting the conspiracy theories going, baby. Let's go. You know what I mean?
Well,
I'm trying to generate.
He's chairman, which is really more of a titular. It's not. He's not
an honorific title.
Yeah, he doesn't have to get on the investors' calls and do sweat it out.
Sure. So, I wonder what Chapek's bonuses are like. Actually, I wonder how the bonus program has even been redefined, if it has been during all this. Because Iger forfeiting 100% of salary. Keep in mind, his salary. It was like $1 or $2 million, but his bonus programs were $65 million, something like that.
That's right. And some in Diz Twitter were quick to point out that this only applies to their base salaries. Bob Chapek's base salary is currently $2.5 million a year, but that amount is buttressed by a target bonus annually of $7.5 million, in addition to an annual long-term incentive grant of $15 million. So,
wow.
However,
I don't even know
given
what
the
that
current,
means.
What's that?
I don't even know what that means. A long-term investment grant?
A long-term incentive grant. So what companies do is, because they give annual bonuses based on that year's performance.
Right.
Long-term incentive grants at some companies, I'm not sure if this is exactly how his works, but in some companies what they do is they give you a 3-year rolling bonus on top of it. So your bonus is based on 3 years rolling performance, so that you're not just doing things that will affect the short-term health of the company and then leave. It's about the long-term performance, so that you're investing wisely for the company as well.
Right.
So they have those two layers. And a lot of that came out of the financial crisis in 2008, 2009, and there were regulations put in about how much stock they were doing more of these instead of stock grants and stock options. Got it. So, but I don't know the exact terms of his, but that's what that is.
Okay.
Given the current scenario and stock performance, though, it is difficult to envision a scenario where he will max out his bonuses. So,
Right.
he has a target of 7.5 million, presumably if he achieves 100% of his goal. And then it probably goes up and down in that a few points depending on how they do.
Sure. I'm sure there's a minimum of bonus too. I would imagine. I don't know.
Not necessarily. I don't think that there is. I would actually guess that there isn't. But the thing is,
or waivers, or some sort of clause?
His goals.
Oh, right. Okay.
Like what they set as his financial plan they obviously they won't achieve, but they could say, okay, well, we're extracting this and we're re-gauging the bonus.
Right. Okay.
But because all of that's publicly reported, like I would have a hard time believing that would be a tough look.
What? To adjust the goals?
To adjust the goals and give him a max bonus next year.
Well, I mean, I think it would be tougher if they weren't trying to take care of the CMs and stuff like that.
Yeah, but who knows what's going to happen?
Right.
I don't think. Listen, we don't know what. I don't think they probably know how they're going to compensate him next year based on these. Like they have no idea. They're trying to stay in business.
This is all new territory for everybody.
In addition to those cuts, it was also announced in a letter from Bob Chapek to the company that all VPs at the company would have their salaries reduced immediately by 20%. All senior vice presidents and above would be reduced by 25%, and all executive vice presidents and above would have their salaries reduced by 30%.
Wow.
So this is just all trying to keep cash flow so that they can give that money off to the cast members that they want to keep in employment, which is good.
It is very
Bob
good.
Iger,
yeah.
Bob Iger is also waiving his car allowance, Jason.
Oh, wow. See, and if we thought that his gratitude had hit new heights, we were incorrect. This is now more. I'm more impressed. What's his car allowance?
His salary, and he has to have his own car.
So they repoed his car, basically?
Well, he probably just got money for it, and then he, it was. The company has also committed to pay cast members now through April 18th. That's where they're committed to as of now.
Okay.
This news comes as CEOs and highly compensated executives at companies across the country are seeing pay cuts. The airline industry in particular has seen the CEOs of United, JetBlue taking pay cuts. Delta CEO has taken 100% pay cut for 6 months. Wow. Actually, I just found this was interesting. American Airlines CEO already has a salary of $0. He is only compensated in equity awards. So if the stock does well, he gets paid. If not, he makes nothing.
Wow, I like that.
I just thought that was interesting.
It's kind of socialist, I think, but
Well, so there you go. Disney's following many. Well, I don't know if they're following or leading, but they are in good company with many CEOs across the country who are suffering and trying to keep their employees paid.
I do appreciate that. Can you imagine making $65 million last year in bonuses and salary, and getting an allowance for a car? Like, it seems a little bit agreed. Like, come on, how many different ways can we pay this man?
Yeah, it's a little peculiar, but I think all those things, there's probably a million other things in his package that add up so that it doesn't look like he's compensated as much as he is. But, like, it's $65 million.
I know, right?
What's the car allowance? Like, $1,000 a month? Well, I mean, it can't be more than that.
And for what? Was he driving a Lambo to the park or something? Or to Burbank office? Like, what's he driving? Good gravy.
He should have a driver. Let me tell you something. If I lived in LA, I would need in my contract a rider that provides for a driver. I can't drive out there.
Yeah, you got Uber. No, it's driving out there. It does kind of stink, and I would too. And I was listening to some interview with, I forget what rapper, right? Some rapper that's fairly popular, and he was like, "Yeah, the greatest advice I ever got was from Jay-Z, I think. I don't know. Let's just pretend it was, because I don't know if it was. But he's like, dude, don't buy cars. Like, buying a bunch of cars is stupid. You see, a bunch of celebrities buying 5 Lamborghinis and shit. He's like, you get like an SUV, like a Suburban, and you pay a driver.
Yes.
And then that's it. You don't have these drunk driving things. You don't have, you don't have to sit in traffic. You don't have to worry about the insurance on your car. And that's how you save your money to grow your wealth instead of just blowing it on a Lambo. Oh, I got signed for $1 million. I'm going to buy 4 Lamborghinis.
Well, Jay-Z's very smart. He's a New York rapper. He's the East Coast. I like him. And he's very good with his money, obviously. So I like that.
He's one of those New York rappers.
I thought that this was all DMX, but apparently...
You thought what was all DMX?
That advice.
Oh, all right. Well, whatever.
But DMX has spent too much time in jail to be giving out financial advice to young rappers.
That's probably true.
That's my story.
Well, I like it. I appreciate that. Bob Iger, God bless him. I think it's really cool. And again, we always like to harass Disney about overcharging for stuff, but at least they're stepping up and sort of like making sure that everybody's being taken care of as best as possible. And I know that many CMs were starting to get nervous to the point where like a couple of different ones are in unions, and they were calling Disney like, what do we tell people? We don't have any hours next week. What's happening? We don't know. Well, right. Disney didn't know either. They're all just trying to figure it all out.
Well, what a difference a virus makes, because I never thought I would hear you on this show when we're talking about compensation say, God bless Iger.
Yeah, I think it's, even if it's, a couple $1 million, they're doing what they can. But like you said, I'm sure their benchmarks are adjusted. So, that will help reduce the amount of money going to them. And so they could, I want people to be paid a fair amount of money. And I know even though Disney's not paying everybody a fair amount of money, they're at least keeping them employed. And that's
right.
That's pretty good. This next one, like I said, isn't really news, but it's just something fun, I guess. John Stamos, a Greek legend and fantastic Disneyland fan, apparently started a video on YouTube where he read a book written by Floyd Norman and Richard Sherman called A Kiss Goodnight. And he was sitting in. So, okay, let me back up for a second. Stamos, like I said, is a very big Disney fan. He has a lot of Disney memorabilia at his house. He has like the letter D from the old Disneyland sign, right? Disneyland Hotel, I think is what it was. But he also has a Dumbo ride vehicle in his house.
I also thought he might have an old monorail car. Is that right?
That I don't know. Us Greeks don't really communicate very well. But apparently he was sitting in his Dumbo ride vehicle, and he was reading this book. So if you want to, it's on I believe it's the Disney YouTube channel. Yeah, Disney YouTube channel. But you can just Google "Story Time with John Stamos," and he's sitting in his Dumbo car reading this wonderful book called A Kiss Goodnight. And
this is a delight. I love John Stamos.
How do you not love the Stamos? I still want to interview him. We have tried to reach out to Stamos several times on Twitter, asking to, and I think to his representative too, like his agent, seeing if he wants to come on and just talk about what I'm fascinated with is being a celebrity and then being in love with Disney, or being a celebrity and you sort of getting your own thing, right? Like you walk into a restaurant and you get preferred seating or whatever. But when you go to Disneyland, we're sort of all kind of on this even playing field, so to speak. I know you can afford a plaid, you get VIPs, but you still have to be out in public and you still have to interact with people, right? And I would love to talk to an actual celebrity about just that kind of stuff, being famous, but in a location that's probably more famous than you'll ever be.
Well, also, the thing that I would want to know is, because we all have a reason why we like Disney. It hit us at some point in our lives, and it's, I want to know why he, what is it about, John Stamos? He's such a cool guy.
Yeah.
Why does he love Disney like we do, us nerds?
Exactly. Yes. See, all that kind of stuff. I want to talk to everybody about it, but Stamos won't return our tweets or our emails, so...
That's because he's a cool guy and we're nerds.
He's too cool. And I even told Terrence, like, look, just tell him I'm Greek. That will be the bond. I don't know if
that'll get him.
I should. Greeks got to stick together, man. We're very underrepresented in Hollywood. I don't know. That's it. Okay. Like I said, it's a little blurb. Just story time with John Stamos. Check it out.
I don't understand why Disney doesn't use... Stamos more because if you think about it, like Neil Patrick Harris, big Disney fan, right?
Huge Disney fan. Yeah, yeah.
For a while,
He was
you
everywhere.
couldn't swing a dead cat without hitting Neil Patrick Harris.
He-
But like, why is there no Stamos? Have Stamos narrate a fireworks show. I'll listen.
Right. Yeah, yeah. NPH was, I think he was on World of Color. I think they threw him in World of
was.
Color for one of the things. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which I like
dreadful.
NPH. You don't like NPH. You don't like him. I would love to interview him.
I think
would
he's probably a
suck,
nice
but
guy. I
yeah.
thought he was a little bit overexposed with Disney.
He's definitely overexposed. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
and
Gad.
oh my, oh Gad, I can't, bro.
Oh my God.
I can't take him. I really can't take him. I saw he was reading books to children on the internet too, and I was like, oh, good. How great. How great is that?
But isn't that the thing? Like you say, John Stamos is reading books to kids, and I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. And you're like, Gaddis. I'm like, I hate it.
Well, Stamos isn't overexposed, and I think when you're at that level of celeb, you don't need the exposure. Maybe you want to do it. Maybe you want to do something for Disney, but you kind of don't really need to. You're just living life. You're living off that Full House money.
Right. He does. He doesn't need it.
He doesn't need it.
Gad's still climbing the greasy pole.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
We speculated this on this in recent episodes because, as you know, Disney has announced billions of dollars of investment in Walt Disney World, especially with their dramatic upgrade to Epcot, as well as other improvements in preparation for the resort's 50th anniversary coming next year, including a repainting and recolorization of the castle, along with a major expansion at Disneyland Paris. But amid the coronavirus outbreaks, layoffs have been underway at the various construction projects around Walt Disney World since the very first day following the resort and came without any notice. These projects are not completed, yet the layoffs still came.
Oh, wow.
So the question for the parks now is, what does this do? So obviously we don't, it's unfortunate these people have lost their jobs, and I think maybe under some of the new legislation, they might be entitled to some compensation for that, certainly unemployment.
Oh, yeah.
But the question that I want to know is, what does this do to the timelines of these projects? And further, with the company growing more cash-strapped by the day, will Disney have to revisit the budgets and the extent of these investments in these projects? Will we get a scaling back of projects that aren't far enough along in response to this crisis?
Oh, I think so. 100%. I mean, there were even projects that last year that they weren't really talking about, but people that I hear from, there was plussing going on to a bunch of rides. They were in planning to make some changes to the rides, and then those were even getting scaled back and scaled back and scaled back. Even when Star Wars Land had already opened, there was already stuff going on. So even just internally, there's always budget concerns. And then now that there's no money coming in except from the movies and merchandise and Disney Plus, which is nothing to shake a stick at, but even that's lower than what they expected, from what I understand. I can see things getting pushed back a few years. Absolutely.
Well, and the thing you got to remember too is that with Disney, even with Disney Plus, when people get laid off from their jobs, they start looking at all their expenses, and if you can cut, what is that, $9 a month, $7?
I think it's like $5, honestly, but you do the package, it's like 11 or 12.
So that's the first, for me, all those automatic subscriptions, if I ever need to start tightening my belt for any reason, all that stuff is what goes away first.
Yeah, for sure.
I've had times where I was like, I got to get rid of cable. Like there have been those times. So that they could see a decrease just because of the financial pressure people are facing.
Yeah. Well, and also most people have a Netflix or an Amazon Prime, and so Disney Plus was always sort of, I think, a gamble in my mind at least, because while you have that initial surge of people, they had like 23 million people or whatever. From what I understand, it's dropped a lot lately, because there's not a whole lot of content. You've seen the stuff on Disney Plus, and you're like, okay, that's cool, I guess. But it doesn't really serve any sort of like, I don't want to say intellectual, mindset or whatever, but it is sort of just kind of fluff. If you want to sit and watch something that's engaging, you're not going to go to Disney Plus.
Right.
Speaking of Disney Plus, I heard reviews of that new Disney documentary with Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex.
Oh
where she
God.
voices she narrates the elephant thing or whatever. I hear it's
Yeah.
terrible. Like the reviews that I've read are like, it's very ham-fisted, and she's like lays it on really thick, and it's not very good at all. And she has no other contracts pending with Disney. But it is really annoying because it says like her name and then it says her title underneath. So it's like Disney, Disney Nature, Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex.
I know. I saw the way they showed her title. That
Christmas.
was like, oh God. It's a little painful.
Yeah.
Do you think? I guess if we would have to watch to find out. But I wonder if the dialogue read by someone else would it be less offensive? Is it just that it's her? Like, how I want to know, like, those words coming out of someone else's mouth.
I think it's part of that. I think it's like 30% because it's just her and she's annoying. I don't even know anything. I've never heard her say one word. Because I don't care. The fact that ever since the wedding, it's just at least once a week, I see 3 news stories about her and the prince, whatever, and I'm like, I don't care. I absolutely do not care. I could not care less. So I'm annoyed just how much press coverage there is of them. But so that Disney nature film, I forget the name. I wish I remember the name, but it's like it follows like a pod of dolphins and then like a herd of elephants. She narrates the elephants. Natalie Portman narrates the dolphins.
Okay.
She's not necessarily like fun to listen to either, but I'm sure she. So to answer your question, that's probably a decent comparison. Which version are you going to like better? You know what I mean? Because I imagine they're written by the same people or whatever. So,
well, to her credit, I would say that she did it. As I understand, it was charitable. She didn't make any money off of it.
Okay.
Like she wasn't. I don't think she was paid for that. I think that was a.
Well, I'll find out. I'll tweet her.
If that's true, that makes me feel a bit better about it.
I guess.
But going back to the reduction in scope of some of these projects.
Yes.
Sorry. There is a blog out there. I'm not going to get too far into it because I don't think that they're too credible, or I think it's more speculation. But there is a blog out there saying that Disney has shifted funds from some projects to others and has put the stop on some, but that is rumor, so we'll just have to wait and see what really pans out with that. But there was one, but I would take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's also not too out there in speculation realm to think that. I mean, of course that they have money in different areas of the parks and the different operations already allotted. Of course they're going to be reshifting stuff. So you should make that up, and it could be true.
Right.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be the first time that Disney plans were thwarted by economic headwinds.
Ooh, thwartation.
Back in the early 90s, amid a European recession and heavy investment in Euro Disney, many plans for that resort had to be scaled back as Disney's Art of Animation Resort in 2012.
Wow.
And some people are questioning why construction at Disney World had to stop. People are saying, well, it's because there's this rule: if there's more than 10 people in a place, then you can't be, you can't have more than 10 people.
Okay.
But there are other construction projects in Florida taking place, such as work on I-4, as well as the new international terminal building at Orlando International Airport. Work continues there, and certainly construction work continues all around the country. I mean, I can see 2 buildings out my window being built. I think it's a cash flow situation. I think they're like, if there's no money coming in, I think this is like cutting the CEO salary. They're like, why build for the future if we can't pay today?
Yeah, I mean, it could also. I wonder if they would get some sort of deal or stop payment on like an insurance thing. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they have to carry special insurance when they're doing construction.
That's a good point too.
Could be a number of things, or they have to have extra security and extra people to sort of validate everybody coming through. And yeah, I don't know. But because you're right, it's essential services, and construction is just that umbrella. So, you can have concrete, you can have a swimming pool built in your backyard still. It's not essential that you have one, but construction is one of those services. So they could still be building and doing stuff. I know
it was interesting.
I know they were doing work in Disneyland a couple days even after it closed. But they didn't have any of the walls up or the facades. They were just sitting there repainting and whatever. Normally you wouldn't see that during the day, but so they were doing stuff.
There were. It was interesting to read Diz Twitter right after the park closure, because they did for a few days continue painting the castle.
Yeah.
And there was some of these people, just their hot takes and what they assert to be true is so preposterous. They're like, no, they're going to ramp it up. It's going to be 24-hour construction. They're going to go full blast to move up the timeline.
Oh yeah.
Same. Like, it's fact.
Yeah.
Obviously that was, and like literally within 2 days, like that was proven completely wrong. Like that was one of those, this tweet didn't age very well.
Jeez.
Love that. So that's my story.
Okay.
What's your next one?
Let me finish this up. It's a fun download. So anybody who is a fan of Disneyland Paris or has never been but would like to see photos and some history or whatever, there's a free download of a digital book floating around. It's called Disneyland Paris Celebrates Its Heritage and Its Artistic Crafts, which is a very verbose title, and it was distributed during the French Heritage Days event last year in 2019. The ebook features references and tributes to the different parts of French culture that can be found at Disneyland Paris, including architecture, art, literature, music, and food. And if you just Google that, I guess there's really not like a really Disneyified like link for it, but the Disneyland Paris Celebrate Its Heritage and Artistic Crafts ebook can be downloaded here. So I'll try to post that in the show posting when I post this thing, and you can check it out. It's full color. It looks like a high res thing, and you can print it out or just look at it online. But there's a lot of cool photos at Disneyland Paris and some Imagineering info here and there. It's kind of fun.
And it's in English?
Yeah, it's in English.
Well, what a delight.
Well, mazel to that, I say.
Yeah. I'd say so.
And
that sounds nice.
Yeah, I think so too. And that's what I have. That's all I got.
That's all you got?
That's all I got.
That was good. I can't believe we had 5 things to talk about and during this far into the corona.
I know, right? For anybody listening to this after, today is the very first day that Jeremy and I are streaming the show on YouTube. And we actually have some people in the chat. Melissa's in there. Brian's in there. Miles is in there. Thomas, of course, is in there. Yeah, it's kind of fun.
I'm going to be honest with you, I completely forgot that you were testing that. And I'm sitting here drinking, not. I
told you,
worried about what I was looking like.
I told you. I said I'm going to be putting this on YouTube. I think if I can, so be pretty, look pretty.
You 100% did,
and you didn't.
But I look pretty. I just didn't. I wasn't minding what I was doing. I was taking sips. I'm over here. I don't know. I feel like I wasn't in. I don't know.
You weren't in the zone. You weren't on camera.
Maybe it's better that I didn't know.
I think so too. So you can see us side by side on the old camera there.
Are you there?
Yeah, that's me. Hi, Jer. Wow, good stuff. All right,
well, maybe I want to invest in a big screen to put behind me, a TV screen, images, moving images, and just excitement.
Well, you can do. Depending on the broadcast, can we do that on this end? I don't know if we could do that on this end, but you can do a white sheet, and there's software that'll key it out, and then you can put up whatever image you want. Like you could be on Sesame Street or something like that.
I know Zoom lets you do that.
Yeah. OBS does too, which is our broadcast software, but I don't know that our computer would be powerful enough to sort of render all that for you and push out, the video. So
maybe I'll just get some props.
Maybe. Props to you, Jeremy. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. Be a prop host. That'd be great. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for listening to the show. It's been Earzup InDepth, number 18, Jeremy. We've been doing this for a while. I know, right? It's kind of crazy. Let's see. If you're listening live, we will be recording live on Thursday, this coming Thursday, in 2 days, when Jeremy brings us the music of The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
Which I'm excited about. It's good.
It's 75% done.
Oh, good. Okay, perfect. I love that.
Well, usually I'm more done than that by the 2 nights before, so I'm a little worried, but don't worry. I'm ensconced, and I'll get it done.
I think you'll be fine. I trust you 100%. And then maybe we'll do another Quarantiki room on Sunday. What do you think?
I'm game for that.
Maybe. Yeah, no, we'll see. I don't know. Anyway, all right, Jeremy, thanks a
Saturday
lot.
might be preferable. All right. Well,
Saturday? Okay, maybe. We'll check it out. All right, thanks a lot, everybody. I appreciate it, and take care of yourselves. Be safe. Wash your hands. Stay inside. Beautiful, Jer. Beautiful.
Oh, that's good.
We're still live.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, why
Thanks
not?
for coming in, everybody.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, now everyone's leaving, I guess. Yeah, Miles in there modeling Disney. He was going to be on talking about the Disney Vacation Club, but Taryn is like, well, maybe we should save that for closer to when the parks are opening. So sorry,
Does he
Miles.
hate me now for usurping his.
Yeah, you got yes,
spot?
you bumped him. Anyway, bye, Melissa. Bye, guys. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Bye.